Hey, I'm your host, Anthony Tank Mansfield, and with you today is
John Lanzador.
and this is What You Into.
What you into? What you into?
All right, listen, we're back officially through spooky season. Shout out to Jamie Filer for coming on and being a co-host for 5 episodes. It was a great time. Let me know some feedback on having Jamie on the show. I really enjoyed it, but if you enjoyed it, do me a favor, hit me up with some info and let me know what you thought. Or if you hated it, let me know. Just be mindful that Jamie used to fight in cages and did death matches and is proficient in bladed weapons. So choose your words of criticism carefully. But that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here, first timer in the basement today. John, what's up, bro? How you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm having a good time, man. Thank you for coming out tonight on such super short notice.
Absolutely.
I totally fucked up my bookings, and I was like, hey, man, can you do a late minute run? And you were like, absolutely. And I'd just done your podcast last week, so
Yes.
which was awesome, and you can pick that up right now. We're going to plug that here momentarily. But yeah, man, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Well, listener, if you know where to find me out online, at NeoToKnow on Instagram is where it's at. You can find my link tree there. Same thing for John. John.Lanzador is where you can find him at on IG. He also has his link tree as well. Really great artist. You're going to see a lot of cool shit on there with like wood carving, a lot of tigers, and if you live in the Cincinnati area, I'm going to guess you like a tiger. And you can also find out about his podcast. I just went on Art Hang. So, dude, number one, thank you for having me on the show. I totally appreciated it. I was stoked to come on and do it.
Yeah, thank you for doing it.
And then two, like, just how did you come up with the concept of the show? Like, where did Art Hang come from?
All right, so I was sitting with a buddy. I think we were at Humble Monk and just having a beer, having a great conversation. He's a photographer and artist. And I'm like, we should really be recording this conversation because it could help other people as far as like the art world, the art process, all that stuff. And I'm like, we should really get this out. And at the same time, there's so many great artists in Cincinnati that are not known just because, like it's our community, our art community knows each other. But then outside of that community, it's kind of hard for people to get their names out. And so there are like key people in Cincinnati that most people probably know certain names. And then outside of that, probably not. And so I just kind of wanted to spotlight all the artists that we have. We have millions of artists in Cincinnati. And I just kind of wanted to shine a light in how great we are as a city of creatives. So that's like really the impetus for creating that show.
Nice, man. I like the idea of like you talking with different artists because I think that while there is some overlap on artists on certain things, there's also a lot of stuff where artists are pretty individual and we all kind of have our own fucking wackadoo ideas. And so it's interesting to hear you have these conversations with other artists and the way they approach the, the art making process and then the why,
Right.
And that's, again, it's one of those things where I look at where I'm like, people that decide to get in abstract expressionism or minimalism versus like what I do with lowbrow or like what somebody does with like creating ceramics as something I suck at,
Right,
So
right.
it's interesting to me, like how you're having these conversations with people and it's like, well, why do you do this?
Right. Now, we don't really, I should get more into the weeds of like, why do you do this? Instead, I talk a little bit more about process. A lot of times, as you know, like describing your own artwork is really difficult. And also talking about art on a podcast where no one can see the pictures or your drawing or your artwork, it's really hard to do. And so that's why, like when I post on Instagram, that like Tank is on my show, I'll put some pictures of images that you've done in the past, and hopefully, like people will be interested, follow that your Instagram, and then they'll get to know you even more. And also, like, not only like the artists, but I also want to highlight all the different places that we have in Cincinnati. And so that's why I asked, where do you want to meet? Where do you want to go? And so I always mention that as well. It's like I was at Loon today, interviewing somebody, and I haven't been there in 100 years. And Listerman's is my neighborhood bar, and that's the place that Tank had us meet. And I haven't been there in a while, even though it's like 5 minutes from my house. I hardly ever visit that place unless I need a Listerman's beer or something.
Right.
I can just pick it up on my way there, but I've never hung out there. So thanks, Tank, for picking that one out for me.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank you for let me have the choice. It was like, you get to pick. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, dude. I'm going to get some good beers. Shout out Matthew and Abby over there. I think you hit on some important stuff there. I think the process thing is interesting with artists. Like, why do you make what you make and how do you make it?
Right.
That's a real question, because there is so many different ways to, just even in drawing, just to do mark making or the way you approach it. I know I'm a guy who, like, everything is done starting out with like gesture drawing and like light fast blue Prismacolor pencils and all that, and so then I can start to come in over top with my colors and then my inks, and other people I see just immediately start with a Sharpie and just just start drawing stuff without any structure whatsoever and just like do an outline, and I'm like, well, that's not how I would do that, but that's how you're doing. You're making it look awesome.
Right. Yeah, my process is basically do one or two sketches. And if I'm happy with it, I just go on to the next phase, which is actually doing what I'm doing, painting or carving or whatever I need to do. So, I mean, more power to people that just go up to a wall or go up to a canvas and start painting right away. It's just not something that I can do or would want to do, because I know my process, and it's good that everybody has their own deal anyway. So
100%. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, you got to have your thing that makes you feel comfortable, because try to deviate from that is hard. Sometimes it's fun, but I like to be in my safe space of like my sketchbook when I do that. Like the idea of like stepping up to a wall and being like, oh, I'm going to try something right now. It's like, holy shit. Like that's kind of intimidating. And also live art has become that too, which is a weird way to think of that as a safe space, where it's like I'm actually performing in front of a room. But it's like, man, I'm doing something. It's going to take me like, a half hour to 45 minutes if I just slop it. Like, who cares?
Now I have a question for you, Tank.
What's up?
When you're doing live art, do you like do pre-sketches before the live art session? Like, are you like sketching it out? So you kind of don't go up there like cold call, kind of with your drawing.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like the same way that, if you think about like the way rap battles are, like ciphers and stuff like that, where it's like, did you really freestyle that, or did you like write some bars down first?
You had that in your pocket.
Yeah, and pretty much everybody like, well, yeah, I got a couple things I kind of default. Or like if you go see a stand-up comedian and they do crowd work, and really what that is like they have jokes that are pre-thought out in their head, but they need to throw some shit out there to like be the setup for it.
Right.
And live art's kind of like that too, where like usually when we do it around a theme of like a movie, or if like when we were at breweries, it was like, pick the name of a beer and then draw the name, stuff like that. And so I would just like sit down the night before in my sketchbook or day of at my job and like crank something out in like 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, cool. That's what I'm gonna do tonight. Like that makes sense. And then go up and rock it. But yeah, like I said, when I kind of start, but that also is why I like doing kind of more of that like sketchy Derek Hess style when I do live art now, is because it is a lot more spontaneous and it has a lot more energy to it.
Right.
And so I do like that, because that's not something I can really just do a sketch of and then replicate. That's kind of a one and done, just because of the way the motion and the size.
Right. The cool thing about the Derek Hess style is even if you mess up one line or one circle or what, you're drawing it 100 times anyways.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so you could tweak it as you go along.
Yeah,
which is kind of fun.
It just gets lost in the ether.
Right.
Another thing you brought up that perked my ears was the idea of like being an artist and talking about yourself. Man, dude, that is so hard.
I'm sure.
It's like every time I do it, I just feel like I'm masturbating for the world, and that's awkward. It's like nobody wants to see this guy rub one out right now, and so it's like I always grapple with that of like, well, what do I say about this? Because like it's this weird thing where like, you have like you're stating the importance of your art, and it's like, well, is it really important? And like you also have to make it sound like it's good, you know. And then, even though there's times when like I don't really think this is good, and you know, it's like, am I coming off like a real hand job right now, where like people think that I'm like this narcissist that thinks
Right.
I'm like the second coming of Van Gogh? You know, it's a real hard thing to balance. So I do like the idea of what you have with the podcast, where you can do more of a long form of it when you ask people that question, and then you can kind of go back and forth with them, and
Right.
it gives you kind of more of a chance to speak in a more of a realistic manner, where it's
Right,
where
right.
it's not just the elevator pitch.
Right, and I'm asking the questions. I want to know. Like I've done several artist talks from galleries and stuff, and usually my artist talks are pretty short, just because I don't want to talk a lot about like what I think you should be thinking. And what I like is, I'm like, all right, like the best part is really just answering your questions. If you have a question, let me know.
Right.
And it's terrible when nobody has a question, but it's great when somebody does, because then you're answering questions instead of you just kind of like, I think what I did was really great because then the same thing, you know? You don't want to just talk about like how great you are.
No, exactly. It comes off as and like I really have trouble with that. And like when I see other people doing that, I'm like, man, that's not the way I want to come off. Like I see the way this guy's coming off, and I want that to be me.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely a struggle in terms of that, and just trying to figure it out, you know, and how to say that. So at this point, I mean, you've done over 30 episodes. You've actually got some people from outside the Cincinnati area on the show, like L'Amour Supreme, which
Yeah.
was a great get.
Yeah.
Do you have like any white whales that you're trying to hunt down, or anybody that's like on a bucket list for you that you want to interview? Is who you wanting to chat with?
That's a great question. I never even thought about like people outside the city at this point, just because it was kind of like a Cincinnati-based podcast. But any like Cincinnati, anybody that comes to Cincinnati, I would like to just kind of chat with. So L'Amour came to Cincinnati, so I'm like, I want to talk to him. Robert Lagulo, the ceramicist that had a show at the Cincinnati Art Museum, I wanted to talk to him. He never got back to me.
Ah, bummer.
I know. And I had connections too, and I'm like, I'm just gonna try to get my connections to get back to him, but he never got back to me. So anybody that comes from outside, I'm willing to talk to. Anybody that I respect as far as like their art, I'm willing to talk to. But yeah, there's like artists that I love now, but they're like, you know, in New York, or they're like in Vermont, or wherever they are.
Right.
And that's not even on my radar at this point. So
That could be a fun part of something, because I like your setup. And listener, you know, kind of talking about it earlier, Rick. We met up at a bar, and you know, John's setup is like it's like these really heavy duty like lapel clips you put on,
Right.
and he's kind of got it hooked up to this recorder. Not kind of, he does have it hooked up to this recorder, but everything's like Bluetooth,
Right.
And so it's just you know, piped in, and it's great. It's really easy to go and to set it down and have a convo and in and out. And I mean, and that's something you could totally like take with you on vacations.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you do end up going to New York, or you end up going to Los Angeles or Chicago or someplace, you know, you can reach out and book some stuff and have those
Absolutely.
conversations. But yeah, man, I really think it's a cool idea for a show. I think it is a cool show, and I like the fact that you are giving artists a platform and a place to speak.
Thanks.
You know, that's something that's happened in other arts for years now, and it's really hard to find that in visual art.
Right.
We are this weird thing that is really outside the normal rules of
It's
how
hard.
marketing and promotion works when it comes to the arts.
Yeah, I think Danny Gamble had a All City podcast
Yeah,
at one point,
All City was great.
and he had artists, and he even had a lot of comedians.
Yeah,
I think he's a big fan of comedy.
he is. Yeah,
So I listened to that, and then he stopped doing it, and I'm like, oh, well, where's this? So I wanted to pick that up too, because there were artists like Jenny Eustick that it's on my list, and we're gonna get her on the show. But anyways, yeah, I really wanted to continue that, like promoting Cincinnati art and Cincinnati artists, because we're great.
cool, man. Well, thanks for doing it, and I appreciate it. Thank
Oh,
you.
Yeah, sure.
Well, hey, let's transition over. Let's get into the main cast tonight. So this is a fun one. So you and I were chatting the other night, and I was like, hey, like, you want to come do the show? Like, what do you want to talk about? And you're like, oh, I could talk about my failed collections. I'm like, go on, because I think that is an interesting thing that we don't talk about all the times. The collections is I've done an episode in the past with my friend Jazz, and we talked about like leaving a hobby and transitioning out, but I don't think I've had a conversation yet about like this collection just isn't working out. I'm done with it, or
Right,
this it's failing, or well, I thought it was going to be this, but it's not. And I find that is an interesting piece, and especially because of like, as we've discussed on the show in the past, collections kind of have a lot of the same rule set. There's a lot of stuff that, like, no matter what you're collecting, there's a lot of stuff that's the same. Like, there's a certain value price points people have, quantity versus quality collections, storage issues with the collection, how much free roam are you allowed to have. So I was like, all right. I was like, yeah, I feel like this is something that we don't talk about, though, is when the collection fails.
Right.
And so I'm excited to have this conversation tonight. So let's start out with this. I've had a lot of collections. I've kept a lot of collections. I would say I've kept more collections that I've had fail. You hit me with a laundry list of things that failed.
Yeah.
What do you have a reason or thought of why all these collections are failing? Is there individual reasons, or is there one main reason?
Well, there's one main. There's many like other kind of things that happened with my collections, and then some of those collections I'm looking at, was that a hobby or was that a collection? Like I had like hundreds of video games.
Yeah.
Like, was that a collection or was that more like just playing around and wanting to have stuff?
Just amassing.
Yeah, just amassing stuff just to have. So it's one of those, like, I'm not sure whether it's a collection or whether that was just kind of like a hobby because I wanted to play kind of thing. Like, for example, I'm trying to think of a collection. No, I'm wrong. My CDs. Mm-hmm. I had maybe like 400 CDs that I ended up selling. And I'm like, is that a collection or is that just because I liked listening to music? Was that a hobby or was that a collection? It wasn't like I was like looking for certain CDs. Mm-hmm. I was just buying CDs that I liked. So Tank, is that a collection or is that more of a hobby? Or is that interest?
Well, see, the Venn diagram here is very overlapping in what we're talking about here. So what you're talking about especially when you start talking about hobbies and how hobbies will birth collections, that's a natural thing. So for example, like, there's people that will get into a sport and they'll end up with like a collection of roller skates because they're playing roller derby, or they end up with a collection of bats because they play in like multiple softball leagues, and they're functional collections.
Yeah.
Same thing with like what happened with you and CDs. It's a functional collection. Like, it's just at the time you wanted to listen to music, but the way you had to listen to music was via disc. And so you had to amass a collection to get the things that you wanted.
Right.
And there's also the thing too with that, even though it's a functional collection, then that also brings into it the world of storage, where it's like, okay, do you display the CDs? Like, were you a guy that had like the bookshelf and all the things were on the bookshelf? Or do you remember like the back in like the 90s and 2000s, the CD towers?
Did you have a tower? I had several of those.
Yeah, the towers. Like, everybody had towers. It's like, all right, do I get it? The towers? And that's one way. Or the people that were just like, oh, I'm very like minimalist, and I store everything inside like CD Bibles, and that whole thing where like people would have these massive storage units you could just put all your stuff in. So that's what I put under me. I think it's something that was like a hobby and a life thing, but also it just becomes a functional collection to which like it's part of life, and you amass. Video games is another great example of that. And this is something that we're now seeing get streamlined because of streaming.
Right.
I can't tell you the last time I physically bought a PlayStation game. I really can't, because I have a subscription-based model on what I have now. I download stuff, or things go on sale, and I just buy directly through the PlayStation Marketplace, and I save it on my hard drive.
Yeah.
Like, that's just kind of the reality of the situation at this point.
Yeah, well, it saves you space, if nothing else.
It does. It does. It reminds me of this episode of MTV's Cribs back in the day where they interviewed Moby at Moby's house, and Moby's house was like pure minimalism, where he just like he had like nothing. He was like bare walls and like a chair in a room. It was very Spartan, and like he had like there was no pictures on the wall. There was no like DVDs or CDs or anything like that. And this is like, the early 2000s. It wasn't like streaming was a thing that had really caught on yet.
Right.
He just didn't have stuff. And I was like, how do you live like this? Because
Right.
I couldn't imagine like not owning media.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to get off the path for a second. So I watch a lot of HGTV. I don't know why.
Nice.
But anyways.
I mean, low key. So do I. Sure, my wife is the one watching it.
yeah,
but
yeah, it's my wife that watches it.
But I'm also beside her on the couch like, oh, why the fuck did they pick that house?
So anytime like they show like this fancy house that's minimal, all white walls, huge windows, nothing on the wall, like I'm like, I want to live like that, but I know I can't, and
Yeah.
I know I'd never do it because I'd put art up everywhere. But anytime I see people living like that, I'm like, huh, that's pretty sweet. I think I could live, but no, I can't. But there is appreciation for that kind of homes as well.
Yeah, I do like looking at other people's like the way people live. I think that was one of the wildest parts of like buying a house was I got to go into multiple's houses, and there was so many I walked into where like I just like walked in the living room and I was like, nope, can't live here. I just instantly knew it was just like can't do this. Like don't like the way this is laid out. Or like I would see like their couch and like the artwork they had on the wall, and it would just taint me. I'm like, oh man, I'm trying to get this image out of my head, but I can't because your house sucks so bad because of your terrible choices and like artists and furniture. Like this is awful.
Yeah, yeah. I think our house in Mount Washington sold because of our our computers. We had the old Apple computers still at that point.
Nice.
And we even had like I think I left my laptop somewhere. But anyways, the guy, when he was signing the paperwork, he said, I saw all your Apple computers, and Apple people are, my kind of people. And so, like, so we sold the house because of Apple computer? I'm like, all right, then, that's fine with me,
Thank you, U.S. capitalism. Thank you, marketing and branding. Dude, you sold your house. That's a very American story right there.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah. So, I definitely think that this is part of the conversation that is going to be.
Sorry, I got off the track. I'm sorry,
dude. No, again, this is the entire show. The entire show is getting off the track. That is what it's about. And every once in a while, I'll recess and get us back on. All right, so. Like I said off mic to you before, there was stuff that like I wanted, instead of just like asking you the collections, I kind of wanted to see if there was various factors or if there was any overlap that caused collections to fail. Because I started thinking about it, I was like, when I've had collections fail in the past, what was it that made it fail? And kind of started doing some internet research. So I just kind of want to see where things fall for you.
Right.
So my first question is, how many of your collections folded because of cost? Where you just like got to a point where you're like, dude, I'm priced out. I can't spend more money on this. Did you have any that fell because of that?
Yeah, it's gonna sound arrogant, but no, I never had any fail because of that. Because I always had money to spend. I don't know. I mean, I think I did. My credit card would, say no. But I always that wasn't the reason why I stopped.
Okay. I've slowed down on stuff because of money. I've definitely like we were talking off mic beforehand about like buying records right now, and like man, my record collecting has very much slowed up in the past year.
Yeah.
Where before I was like going out and like every weekend I was picking up like 5-6 albums, or I would haul home 12 albums, and like 3 weeks later I'd go out and do another 12. And now it's like I'm good for maybe like every few months, like I'll pick up like 1 or 2 when I'm out in the wild, or if I'm on a trip and I see something, like maybe I'll get like 5, but then that'll do me for like months on end.
Yeah. What I meant was, it wasn't like the collection failed because I ran out of money. The collection failed just because I wasn't interested anymore. Like I love shoes now, and I collect shoes. I buy shoes and I wear them. So I don't really, See, again, I'm not sure it's a collection.
It
But
is.
but I buy sneakers all the time. But I wouldn't buy like a $600 sneaker.
Yeah.
Cause and that's a money issue.
Yes.
As much as I would love to buy a Gucci Adidas, I don't want to spend $700 in the shoe. So that is a money issue. So maybe that is an issue.
Yeah, that is definitely part of every collection. Is there's definitely, I mean, for us normal people,
Right.
you hit price limits. There's just
Right.
stuff where it's like, man, I'd love that, but I can't do that. A great example of like talking about, but like Gucci shoes. It's just
Yeah.
like, dude, it'd be awesome to have this, but I just don't have that kind of bankroll, or
Nope.
I'm sitting there thinking about all the other things I could buy instead
Right.
of these shoes, but
Like
the amount of
groceries.
yeah, exactly. Paying a mortgage,
Mortgage.
making sure that I have lights on for the month, little things.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I do think that does become a factor on some level. And yeah, it is just that thing where it's just like you get to points where you're just like, I just can't go higher than this. This is as much as
Right.
it is, and I've definitely had that in collection too, where like I've kind of tapped out at a certain level I'm at, and I'm like, all right, well, this is as much as I'm willing to spend.
Right, right. Yeah, a lot of like I knew this question was coming, and I'm thinking, why did that collection fail? So I had a pretty substantial stamp collection, and also like a first day cover collection, which is the first day that the stamp comes with a commemorative envelope. I know this is nerd talk, and I had a membership to the mint company. So they would send me new stamps, new envelopes all the time. And that collection failed just because that was with my aunt. My aunt raised me.
Okay.
And she thought it was a great collection. She would look at it with me. She would hunt down stamps with me. And so she moved because I got older. Actually, I moved.
How old were you when you started the stamp collection?
I was probably like 9 years old.
For some reason, that's like one of those like little kid collections where
Yeah.
people talk about like collecting stamps and collecting coins.
Right,
I think it was like an old timey thing that happened, and then
Yeah.
people just kept rolling with it.
I don't know.
But I will say that like the postal services and the mint have come out with some really cool stamps.
Yeah. And I remember buying the Elvis stamps in Memphis because I visited. I'm like, ooh, and that was after I stopped collecting stamps.
But still, the king.
I'm like, well, I guess I got to buy this because I used to have a collection. So part of the reason why I stopped doing that was because I moved away from my aunt, and she was really the one that kind of was driving that collection. Same with my coin collection. So the old people like collection that I had as a kid kind of died when I moved away from the person that was interested in it with me.
Would they enable stuff with like would they buy you stuff for like birthdays or
Oh,
or,
yeah.
like holidays or anything?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's it's sad but true. Like I would ask for stamps for my birthday.
I do think it is cool though, the fact that like you found something to bond with like your older people in the family.
Right.
Like that was something like me and my parents always had trouble figuring out. Like there was stuff that my dad was into. I was just like, I'm not really into that. And there's stuff I'm into. He's like, well, I'm not into that. And my mom's the same way. Like we all have like our own little different collections and hobbies
Right.
and stuff, but we don't like have a lot of overlap on it.
Right. So what collection did your dad have that you're like,
Well, so my dad is definitely one of the reasons why I got into collecting, because my dad always collected stuff. We actually collect similar stuff but different vein. We're both hat collectors.
Oh, yeah.
But his is more like if there's a free hat, he's grabbing it, or if it's like a Harley Davidson hat, he wants it.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm definitely like more of a new era guy,
Right.
and I'm always looking for like the teams that I like, and then like the various different colorway stuff.
Right.
And now I find myself getting into like the weird stuff of like I was on the New Era site the other day. They don't really have them for the Reds, but they have this thing. It's the Autumn collection.
oh, I love that. Like
Yeah.
great colors.
Yeah, and they got like the tree branch on it with
Right.
the leaves, and I found this Baltimore Orioles cap that looks incredible. And I'm like, oh man, I'm trying not to buy this, but
Yeah.
this is really, and that's how they get you.
I know.
So we both got that overlap. And then my dad and I are both sticker guys, but again, very different stickers that we collect. My dad loves Jimmy Buffett. My dad loves dirt track racing, so like that's a lot of his stuff. Whereas my stuff is more like art stickers or
Right.
bands or pro wrestling shit. So it's just, kind of same ballpark, but we just never got on the same page with like, oh, you're collecting this, we're collecting this. Again, I think the thing that my family all connects over is Ohio State football.
Right.
That's our touchstone.
Well, there you go.
Of what we can talk about and be into together.
Yeah, that's really cool.
But I do like that. I do like the fact that you had something with like a collection that had familial bonds. That's
Right.
very cool.
Right. Yeah, my aunt also had a thimble collection, which is a weird collection again.
Again, these are like all these like fake old timey collections that people talk about having, people don't really have. Like,
Oh, though she had it.
like nobody has fucking stamp and
Right,
coin
right.
and thimble collections.
Right. It's one of those like the Sunday papers advertise like you could get the state of Alaska spoon, and then we'll
I've seen spoons.
and then we'll send you the next state and the next state. So you constantly have these new spoons coming in to fill up your little. It's kind of like a wall hanger.
Right.
They sell you the wall hangers for free with the first purchase of your Alaskan.
That's how they
spoon.
get.
Yeah.
That's how they get you.
Now you're just gonna have to fill that thing up.
Yeah, you got to stack those spoons. You're
Yeah,
in for a
so
penny, in for a pound.
So she was a collector in that way, but it's one of those weird collections. And then I also had like a comic book collection that I still have. I got rid of a lot of my good stuff, but so there's like some weird stuff that I have, like Kazars, Dazzlers, Marvel 2-in-1s, old Spider-Mans, but not any of the good ones. Old X-Men, but not any of the good ones. It like all my good stuff I got traded away just because people knew what was good and what was not with me, and they would, I'll take that for this whatever. And I always got shafted because I didn't know as much about it. So anyways, so with that, it was a group of friends that collected comic books, and we hung out all the time. And again, somebody moved or I moved, and so that collection stopped. I did find Queen City over in Pleasant Ridge, great comic book shop. And so I started going again. I started buying Image comics.
Yeah,
when
dude.
Image first came out, like Image, like the Supreme one. I don't know if anybody.
Listener, we're a very pro Image show. Shout out Spawn, shout out Wildcat,
yeah.
shout out Pitt.
Yeah.
Fucking just Rob Liefeld in general.
Yeah, so I started buying a lot of Image comics. Again, I picked up like from childhood, and then as an adult, I started buying Image because it was like the new kid in town back then.
Yeah, well, it was the big jump because,
Yeah.
So, listener, if you weren't collecting comics at the time, what had happened was basically you had the two studios, you had Marvel, you had DC, and that was kind of where you could go. And then the artists were like, well, we're making this shit. Like, why are we not getting paid more?
Right.
And Marvel and DC are like, where are you going to go? And, well, 7 artists from Marvel and DC decided to go and do their own thing. And it was like the most badass dudes at the time, too.
Yeah.
So it was Todd McFarlane, who was on Spider-Man. You had Rob Liefeld, who was on X-Force. Jim Lee, who was on X-Men. Was it Dale Keonan who ended up doing Pitt? I think he was on Incredible Hulk.
Awesome.
Eric Larson, who went on to do Savage Dragon. Who was the guy that did Mark Silverstein?
I don't know because I only followed certain artists.
Yeah.
But
I think he was the guy who did Witchblade and also did Shadowhawk. Like Shadowhawk was like one of the first Image characters that didn't get as much love. And oh man, who am I leaving out of this original 7? I'm leaving somebody. And right now, Justin 3000 Stewart is screaming in his car at me because I fumbled the bag.
He's
on
got
this.
the answer.
Yeah, he's definitely got the answer right now. But it was unprecedented,
Right.
like they went and did this and formed their own label. And, it was interesting also to watch as a fan at the time because like, you were seeing like adult children like run their own company.
Right.
And it was the whole thing where like you were used to like, hey, I know I'm going to get X-Men every month, or I know I'm going to get Spider-Man every month.
Right.
Amazing Spider-Man is going to come out, Uncanny X-Men is going to come out. And with the Image shit, it was like, it would just, sometimes you wouldn't see an issue for like 3 months. And it's just like, what are you doing? Just because they didn't have like anybody over them being like, hey, you got to make this.
Nobody pushed them.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. So was Dark Horse? Was that older or did that come after Image?
Dark Horse, I forget when Dark Horse came in, but Dark Horse also, also Sam Keith Max. I don't know if that was original seven, but maybe. Dark Horse, yeah, I remember Dark Horse as being its own thing for a while, and it was mostly like the movie stuff because I remember their big thing was like Predator and Aliens, and then they got like the Mike Magnolia Hellboy stuff, which would then which is crazy because then that would go on to become like a big movie franchise, whereas a bunch of the stuff that they had was big movie franchise.
Yeah. Well, Hollywood, pretty much just went through the comic books.
Yeah.
And decided we're going to make franchises out of all these.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
that's the way it goes.
It is. I really wish that if Hollywood's going to continue to do this, I really hope that they kind of dig a little deeper and get into some series a little bit more off kilter because I'm so over the Marvel universe. I'm good. I don't need to see the same plot again. Like I dig the Marvel universe where they do like Scarlet Witch. I thought was great because that was like kind of
fun.
Yeah, it was like more of an original tale, and it was like, hey, it's something a little outside the norm of what we normally do. And I really enjoyed like Guardians of the Galaxy when it first came out.
Yeah.
But the problem is, it's what Hollywood does. As soon as they see something that's fun and successful and people love, it's like, well, let's carbon copy that to death.
Right.
And that the humor that you saw in like Guardians of the Galaxy was then popping up in everything. And it's like, well, this is kind of taking the shine off of this because now what was a standout thing is now become like a normal thing because everybody else is just like copying off this and copying and copying and copying.
Yeah. I did enjoy Hawkeye. Was that Disney that did Hawkeye?
It would have to be because they're under the Disney banner.
Yeah. No, it was Jeremy Renner before he got ran over.
Hurt Locker. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, Jeremy Renner is just forever Hurt Locker to me because that was the first thing I really saw. I remember I recognized him. So now whenever I try to describe something to my wife that he's in, she's like, "Who?" I'm like, "Hurt Locker's in it." She's like, "Oh, okay."
All right. Yeah, that's a great movie too.
Yeah, it's the same way that like Sacha Baron Cohen is always Borat and everybody's in. I'm like Borat's in this movie. She's like, "Oh, cool." Yeah, man, I'm with you on the comic book collection. I had one too. I dipped out. I want to say maybe like right before college. Like even in high school, I kind of started to wane on it because like. One, it was a cost thing for me because it was just like to keep up with all the books I wanted to, it was like you just had to constantly keep buying. And then it was like I didn't have really any friends that were into it. So like nobody else was really into the hobby with me.
Right.
And so I didn't really have anybody to talk about it.
It's not fun.
Yeah, you got to like have other people to talk about this with. Thank God for the internet, in which now is why we have Comic-Cons all over every place because nerds are able to find each other. But yeah, it was one of those things where it's like, well, it's costing me a lot of money. I don't have people I can find to talk to. And even then I was kind of noticing like the repetitive nature of comics because that's something that also bugs me with like, this is why I'd rather read something by Vertigo or I'd want to read something, by like, a label where it's like they're making like a more of a standalone story like Southern Bastards where it's like, all right, I know if I read Batman, I know he's not going to kill the Joker. And I know that like the Joker's going to go to Arkham Asylum. He's going to bust out Arkham Asylum and he's going to do this shit all over again.
Right.
And everything just resets. And there's not like real stakes a lot of the time.
Right.
Or the stakes that are put out, it's like, okay, we're going to kill Superman. It's like, okay. And nobody really dies.
No.
Everybody comes back. No. Everything gets reset.
Right. Yeah, I had that Death of Superman comic book that I actually ended up cutting up just because I didn't know the value of it and I needed it for art. So, oh well.
Was that the number 75 where like every page was like a splash page? Like every page was just like one big fight scene?
The whole comic book was basically a fight scene.
Yeah, between him and Doomsday. Yeah, I remember that.
It was good.
Yeah, it was a cool idea at the time, and yeah, I think that was like a weird thing in the 90s. Like, we're going to kill these heroes, but then, nah, psych, they're not really dead. I do like the modern version of what's happening now where of the idea of like creating new characters,
Right.
that also but basically what Spider-Man is done with like Miles Morales.
Right, right.
Like I think that's a cool idea. That
That's
now
a
we
great
have,
idea.
Yeah, that we have like multiple Spider-Men now,
Right.
and the whole multiverse thing, the whole
Right.
Spider-Verse thing. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, if you're gonna, if you're gonna take these characters, either A, update them in some way, or B, if you could have like another character that can have its own story to spin off of that, that's
Right.
great too, because that's what comics is. Comics is just a forever expanding universe of
Right. Well,
characters.
yeah. Speaking of copying, I mean, everybody's got that multiverse now. I mean, Loki, The Flash, like all these movies about like multiverses, and I'm gonna go to that multiverse. Like it again. It's getting a little bit stale, that story, but I still love it. So
Yeah, I mean, I like the concept of that there is multiverses. I think that's cool, but I'm with you. I do think there is an overuse of it right now, where it's just like, all right, man, can we all not have like this same story arc? Can we just like kind of, have our own ideas? That'd be cool. And that is too, where I get frustrated sometimes in Hollywood, where I'm just like, okay, man, I'm gonna go watch some other stuff just so I get some like I'll end up watching older movies just because I'm like, well, at least I haven't seen this, but at least I know I'm gonna get an original story,
Right.
and it's not gonna be a carbon copy of stuff I've seen before.
yeah, get it.
So, all right, one of the other things to think about here is: have you ever has a collection ever failed because of storage issues?
Not really. Again, like I've got a giant basement, so I can always just keep putting things in crates. And my wife is, as long as it's in the crate and I don't see it, it's fine. So it's not really a storage issue as far as like I don't know what. When I was thinking about this question, I think about my ADHD. And a lot of people think ADHD is kind of like you're just hyper, like you're full of energy, like you're always kind of like doing something, and that's not. My ADHD is more like a brain ADHD where you see one thing and you move on to the next, and so I think that's what it is. Is like I just not get tired of it. I just want to move on to something else, and so like I see like a shiny new something else. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Or I see a friend with a really cool collection. Oh, I want to start collecting that too, because that's pretty cool. I just lose interest and gain interest and then come back to it at some point. So I think that's part of my thinking is why I move on from one place to the other. And I might end up collecting stamps again next year. I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, I'm flighty.
Okay, so me, you, and my dad all suffer from the same condition. Then.
Okay.
Because definitely in the same boat. I got it from watching him, and that's how. So I'll get into a hobby, and I'll get into it for like 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and I'll have to like do everything that I can involved in that hobby to try to be the best at it, or to hit goals that I have within it.
Right.
And then at some point, I just kind of run out of goals, and I'm like, well. Kind of done with this.
Right.
I mean, really, the only constant in my life has been art, where I've just constantly been making art. But other stuff I've done, like with like announcing roller derby, and like I was into that for like I mean, close to a decade, and like going on the road and traveling and driving places and flying places and calling big tournaments and doing what I could to get on like to like carve out a spot for myself where I was calling large games or being part of like the playoff announcers, stuff like that.
That's cool.
And it's like it was very cool. But then like at some point I'm just like I no longer have that feeling where I'm scared to do this, and I no longer have the feeling where I'm hyped to do this. And that's a bad fucking sign if you're involved in anything competitive. If you don't get butterflies or you're not amped up,
Right.
that means that the love's gone. Like,
Right.
It's just not. You might still be good at it,
Right.
and you might still enjoy it on some level, but you don't love this thing anymore.
Right.
And so I think that does happen sometimes with collections. It's just like this doesn't bring me the joy it once did, and then it's like that meme with the guy where he's with the girl and she's like mad at him and he's like looking over his shoulder, and then you insert whatever you want there as like the
That's
new
right.
shit.
That's me.
Yeah, it feels like that sometimes. Whereas it's like, oh, what's this new thing over here? And then you get into it, and that's totally cool and totally and totally a natural thing that happens with collecting.
Yeah. The thing is that you like I hang on to things too, so that's part of the failed collection. Like I see it all the time when I'm in the basement. I'll see like, oh, that's a crate full of Pezzas. Oh, that's a crate full of comic books. That's a crate full of art books that I never looked at. I just thought it'd be great to have. That kind of stuff. Now, books I like to get rid of just because they're so heavy. And I give it out to people all the time just because it's so heavy. I can't keep moving it all the time. Like, I don't look at this anymore, but you'll enjoy it.
Jamie Filer will take all your books.
There you go.
Yeah, if you needed somebody to give a book to, Jamie Filer will take those art books. Yeah. Okay. So interesting. So you have some pack rat tendencies.
I do.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I'm a hoarder.
You're a hoarder. You
Yeah.
hoard up. Okay. I do to some extent. I'm weird. I get rid of shit. There's some stuff I'm very Spartan with my collections I hoard on. And my wife's like this too. I didn't know when we went to move that she had a substantial magazine collection, and it was a bunch of heavy shit that I had to move when we moved into this place. And it was just like, where did this come from? She's like, I've just had it in the bottom of the closet, for over a decade now. I'm like,
Wow.
okay, and just.
Is it good magazines at least?
It's all like the Riot Girl stuff
Okay.
from the 90s, like Jane and it's not Rebel Girl, I forget, whatever it's called. We did an entire podcast about this, but yeah,
So it's cool magazines.
yeah,
That's worth collecting. It's not like Life or
No.
Well, no, Life is actually good. It's like People magazine or
yeah,
not like that.
Yeah, no, it was stuff that was very formative of her youth that like made her into the woman that she is today. It'd be like the same thing if I saved like a bunch of electronic gaming monthlies,
Right.
Which
with the cheat codes.
yeah, exactly. It's like if I still had those, and that would be like my version of it, and I would hope that she would not make me give up, any of those. Now I'm really sad I don't have those, so I'd really like to go back and read about Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat and see what the hype was back then. But yeah, man. No, I think that is kind of part of collecting. If you do collect, you do have some level of pack rat in you,
Right.
Where like you just like I can't let go of this thing. I got to keep this.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think everybody has a collection?
No.
No.
I think I think that there's people that have functional collections, just because they have to have, for their things. So like, friend of the show and show's anthropologist Bomb Track, she's an outdoor gal, and she's hiking, she's climbing,
Right.
she's fucking caving because she's insane, and like, so she does have a collection of shit just because she has to have it for what she does,
Right.
but she doesn't have like a bunch of like, she's an experienced person,
Right.
and so where she doesn't have a lot of collections, a lot of the stuff she does have is experiences, and so I think that there are definitely people that exist that don't have collections, or if they do, like it's an accidental collection that can sometimes happen, or
Right.
it's just like, it's like stuff on their desk at work.
Right. Or part of their hobby.
Yeah. I think that's the main way. I think that would be the main way people end up getting collections. Is just it's a part of your hobby. You just
Right.
end up picking up shit as you go.
Yeah.
And then there's the others of us that have the weird hoarder pack rat. My precious. I find this to be important. I
Yeah.
want this. I need
Yeah.
to decorate with.
I'm gonna stare at this for a while and
Yeah.
and then put it away and never see it again.
Yeah. Did you so you said no storage issues. Have you like ever had display issues with a collection?
So the Pezzas, speaking of display issue, just gets knocked down all the time.
Really?
So when I had a cat, it'll go down all the time, because you when you display Pezzas, you display them side by side, and if one goes down, it's like domino effect. So I'm like, you know what? I'm a school teacher, so I'm gonna take it to my school and put it on my desk, because kids will love them. Well, kids knock them down all the time too, because they want to look at them. So eventually, they all ended up in the crate, just because they don't stand for very long unless you tape them down or glue them down or whatever. So that was a display issue. I didn't have like a glass case to put them in. And even if you run into a glass case, I'm sure they'll all go down.
Yeah, no, they are definitely a finicky thing to deal with. I've definitely come across what you're talking about in the past with people who have had to glue down or adhere down Pez dispensers because you're 100% right, man. They are a line of dominoes. If one of those things go, they all drop
Yeah,
just
they're
like
so
that.
light. They're not like beer bottles that are heavy that could stand on their own.
Right.
And if you even push one over, it might wobble, but it's not going to just fall down.
Well, it could be like the kind of thing where like you might stomp on the floor too hard and it just kind of shakes
Yeah.
and all of a sudden they're popping down. I've gone through this definitely with like having a toy collection.
Yeah.
Where same kind of problem. If you don't have like a system set up for how these things stand, or like I do a lot of stuff with my toys where like I'll lean them on the more substantial toys.
Right.
So if I have a toy that I know is like a good base, I'll lean some of the more finicky ones against it so I know they'll stay up
That's
no matter
smart.
what. Yeah, well, doing something for 20 years, you start figuring out the hacks.
No, I love your toy collection. No, I saw did you do like a reel of the toy collection
I
at
did.
some point?
Yeah.
Or your studio?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did a studio tour of
Yeah,
it.
that was really cool.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, After the show, you can go check it out.
Yeah,
But
because I mean, all right. So cost issue or money issue, toys are like one of those things where a vinyl toy could go up to like some Ron English, some Frank Kozics that I want
yeah,
are so expensive that I'm like, oh, can I treat myself on this one or not? And most of the answer is not, just because it's hard. Like I have like expensive toys, but really they're in my studio. It's for me to look at and enjoy, but at the same time, like that was a lot of like
Yeah.
the money spins in my brain every time I look at it. I'm like, how much did that cost again? And sometimes you're like, oh, that's a lot of money.
see, in those moments, I just Marie Kondo it, and I go, does it bring you joy?
Yes.
And if it brings you joy, then
Right.
you're good. You know, that's the question. Does it bring you joy?
So I have all the Simpsons Legos
Hell yeah, dude.
because it brought me joy. Again, those Legos fall down all the time. They don't stand on their own. So again, I think I like to collect things that fall. Now that I'm thinking about it, like why do I keep collecting light toys? I need some big old toys.
Because they look cool, because they're 3D, because they're a piece of art that you can like walk around.
Right.
They're so cool. Yeah, man, I've went through definitely the different periods of toy collecting. I used to have a job. I was near the toy department up in Fairfield, and I would just once a week go in there like every Friday and just like go grab stuff, because that was a time also when NECAs were a little cheaper, and I was able to kind of buff out the thing. And then whenever I'm in Lexington, I go to Toy Vomit. Shout out the Neon Tiger Frankie Bronco. What up, ball? Like, that place is awesome. It's super cool. Getting to go there every time. Like, the staff is great. So I was in picking up stuff just because I love those dudes and I love the place. And then now I find myself starting to get into more of the art toy stuff, and
Right.
I want to start getting stuff from like Earth to Kentucky,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like
It's cool stuff.
Dustin's got so much cool shit over
Yeah.
there, and it is just and that's like a niche of nerdiness where it's just like, man, even like for toy collectors, this is like a different rabbit hole
Right.
of nerdiness.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah. Art toys are different.
yeah, they are. Like I know a lot of people that collect NECA, or I know like a lot of people that collect like like Jax or Kenner or Hasbro,
Right.
like
Yeah.
the different and whether it be like stuff from the 80s like GI Joe and Transformers, or like wrestling line and stuff, or the people that collect like Star Wars Black. I've met all these people, but
Right.
but art toy people are rare to find.
Yeah.
and art toys are just so fucking cool because of it.
Right. The cost, I think, it would stop me from collecting a lot of art toys, just because my wife would kill me.
Yeah.
The coolest thing I have, the coolest toy. Well, I don't even know if it's a toy. Is a Stretch Armstrong. I think it's called. I forgot what it's. Oh, it's a mandrel. Do you know what those are?
No, man, what's this?
So, Stretch Armstrong, the way that they make it is they have a form, and they used to make it. The form used to be porcelain that they would dip into, I guess, the rubber, and then they would pull it out, and then they would just peel the rubber off the porcelain. The problem is the porcelain was so fragile when they're pulling it that a lot of them would break. So they switched to aluminum casting.
Okay.
So they would dip it into the rubber, let it kind of like, I guess, cure. Then they would peel it off. And so when everything but the house, do you know everything but the
Yeah,
house?
yeah.
Was new before they did a lot of like research on what they have.
Oh, you want to explain to the listener real quick what it is?
Yeah, it's an auction website. So basically, they go to people's homes, and they'll take like a couch, they'll take a lamp, whatever, and people just bid on it. It's like it's like that's all it is. It's a online bidding house.
It's very cool. My buddy Marshall ended up like getting like a life size what is the bowling game where it's like you play it with like the spin disc? You know what I'm talking about?
Spin disc.
Or like okay, so like when you go to like a tap room and they have the game that you play where like you shoot the puck down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I know now. I know it's a
Shuffleboard.
Shuffleboard. Yeah.
So there's a version of that where it's set up like that, but instead of being open on both sides, it's set up like a bowling alley.
Oh, cool.
And then the table is the bowling alley, and then you're on one side of it, and then you throw the disc down the lane.
Yeah.
And then there's little triggers on the bottom of it, and when you hit the triggers, then there's these bowling pins that hang down, they fly up.
Ooh, cool.
When you hit the triggers. But if you don't hit the triggers, you can go underneath them and then you won't hit them because it's like they're hanging there. So, yeah, it was just like, it's a very much like random, like 1940s, 50s game that he was able to find on, the website.
Yeah. So what I have is a Stretch Armstrong porcelain, basically, without a head. Because,
Dude, that's rad.
Because the head comes separate because it's a little bit harder, and they just pop the head on. Not knowing what it was. They advertised it as abstract porcelain. Mm-hmm. And because it has to stand upside down just because the head is, flat on top. And so I bought it. I think I bought it for $30. And so when I was doing my research on what it was, I'm like, oh, it's a Stretch Armstrong mandrel. So I just kind of kept Googling, getting down the rabbit hole. And I guess there's like 6 in existence.
Whoa.
3 are in a guy's collection. And so I'm like, oh, where's the other ones? So I have one. So there's 2 more floating around somewhere that we don't know. But I guess it's like they're pricing it around $6,000.
Holy shit.
I'm like, well, that's a good investment.
Dude, nice. Yeah, hold on to that.
But I don't think anybody would buy it because there's one on eBay for I think $3,000 that's been sitting there for years.
Really?
Because no one's like who's gonna buy that?
Yeah.
But that I just love that I have that, and there's not a lot in the world.
That's super cool.
That's the coolest thing I have.
That is a very cool thing to have. The whole time you're describing this, all I can think of is like making beer can chicken on the grill, where you shove an empty beer can up a chicken's ass and you smoke it. Like I'm like the whole time just thinking that I'm like, all right, yeah, that makes sense. But
John's gonna talk about chicken cooking.
Dude, I wish that'd be awesome. Well, how come I haven't done that episode yet? What are you into? Grilling chickens?
I'm into chicken.
Yeah, dude, I'm very much into chicken. I don't know. Listener side rant. I don't know if there's a chicken I don't like. I'll be honest with you.
That's true.
Like, if you can fry it, grill it, you can boil it, I'm pretty down with it. There's some, except like the really cheap chicken at Kroger you get in the weird, like, pack from the deli where it's kind of cooked, but it's not great.
Right.
Those are the only chickens I don't like.
Yeah. I mean, I bought like some Kroger chicken before where it tasted like the container that it came in.
Ugh.
So I'm like, oh, that's not good. But no, Kroger fried chicken's not bad.
Yeah, no, it's good. Not as good as gas station chicken, though.
No.
I love gas station chicken. If you find a place where it's a gas station where they have chicken, always good.
Is it rotisserie chicken? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking like fried chicken. I'm talking tenders.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, there was this place, this gas station beside the Cincinnati Gardens back when we used to do roller derby there, that my pregame was to go over and get chicken tenders.
Nice.
Chicken tenders and a 6-pack of Tecate. That was that. Or oh no, well that okay, take that back. That was the morning games because that's when they weren't serving beer because they would serve beer during the games and then you could buy them, but I couldn't bring it in because of alcohol license. But yeah, but in the mornings, yeah, when it was hangar about, it was like, all right, let's go get some tecates, let's get some chicken tenders,
Nice.
and let's go hang out.
So you're announcing and eating chicken?
Yeah, dude, I used to live the dream, bro.
That is the dream.
And it was the dream. Now here I am with a podcast. Yeah, man, I'm dealing with display issues right now. I'm starting to get filled up on the vinyl collection.
Yeah.
I'm running out of space on the beer can collection. I've had to get rid of hats for my hat collection, and I need to buy a new piece of furniture for my toy collection.
Right.
So display is definitely becoming an issue for me right now on multiple collections.
Right.
And I'm not sure what to do with them.
Well, you could create some.
I could, but and that's always hard for me because it's like I struggle with that with T-shirts where I'll
Right.
leave a T-shirt that I haven't worn for 3 years in a drawer and I'm like, oh, I
Yes.
might sometime.
Yeah,
I
I
might
know.
bust that bad boy out.
I'm the same way with I love t-shirts and I buy more than I need. And I have a pile in my closet of shirts that I'm not gonna wear, but I'll pull from that pile every once in a while too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you know what? I'm mowing the lawn. I'm gonna just pull one of those out.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm gonna go creeking. I'm gonna pull one of those out. It's gonna get ruined. I'm just gonna throw it away. So there's always like a use for a shirt, So
Wait, hold on. Hit reverse. Back the car up real quick. Going creaking.
well, I I'm a camp counselor sometimes, and we do fossil hunts, and so we basically go creeking. You're in the creek. You're looking at rocks. You're going, you're jumping over waterfalls, that kind of stuff. So creaking, I don't know what else to describe it. It's supposed to be a fossil walk, but really the kids are just playing in the water. They're not really looking for fossils.
Listener, you turn in this show for hard hitting Midwestern shit. Creaking. Add it to the list. All right. What about so we talked about the not bringing joy. I think that's kind of the one thing we both agreed on with the collection, and as being the main stopping point. If anything we've talked about on the list, I agree with that the most. Where it's like when something says bring you joy, let it go.
Right.
What about when you're collecting stuff, are you a quantity collector or a quality collector?
I'm both.
And I feel like the stamp thing veers into that.
Right. Like the stamp thing, well, I was getting mailers all the time. Like you don't really get a choice of what the government puts out. And so I'm just getting that. But some, like the Elvis stamp, was kind of like a cool thing to get separate from all that stuff.
Which Elvis did you get? Did you get Fat Karate Suit Elvis? Like,
Oh, no.
It was young, good looking Elvis.
Yeah, 50s
Hot
Elvis.
Elvis.
Yeah, hot Elvis.
Hot Elvis.
Yeah, not cool. I think Las Vegas Elvis was the coolest phase of Elvis.
I like that Elvis.
Yeah, that's my favorite Elvis.
I can relate to that Elvis.
Because I think that's the Elvis that most people think about. Like when they think of Elvis, he's in that full like overall like coveralls.
He's like Super Saiyan Elvis at that point. Like he's like Elvis at his most powers. Even though he's a
Right.
mentally broken man that has a horrible pill addiction, it is the most Elvis you can have because at the same time it's like Elvis being like, I know I'm a celebrity. Like he realizes that the level of what he is and who he is.
Yeah.
And just it's also just like to have the balls where like you just get like a jumpsuit made and you're like, this is what I wear now.
Yeah.
I just wear
I
jumpsuits.
love it.
They're bedazzled.
Yeah, and like I have one of his albums where he's like doing like some kind of pose and he split his pants.
He's always doing karate.
And he's always splitting his pants.
Yeah, well, can't help it. He's always wearing jumpsuits.
And he'll just like put that in the song. He's like, oh, I think I'll just split my pants.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, cool. He's the coolest.
he is pretty cool. I mean, I mean, again, the jumpsuit, the glasses,
Yes.
like the Elvis glasses are the Elvis glasses. Like if you see somebody wearing Elvis glasses, you're like, oh, you're wearing Elvis glasses. Like he
Right.
really did like just hit so much fashion stuff. Going and watching like the biography movie they did of him last year, it's just like I felt bad for Elvis during that movie because it did feel like a bird in a golden cage,
Right.
Especially towards the later years with
Yeah.
like him not being able to tour because of the Colonel having warrants and felonies and whatnot. So
Right.
just Elvis could never leave the United States, which is something I never really thought about until I look back on. I'm like, that's fucking crazy to think that he was like such a huge celebrity, but never toured outside of the United States.
Right. I mean, he went to Hawaii though.
He went to Hawaii, but still the United States.
That's right.
You know, and like I don't know if Elvis did Alaska.
No, I don't know.
Which how they didn't have that concert, I don't know. I'm at an igloo, around a doo dang doo, here I am. You know, like I don't know what they could have done with it, but it is crazy to think that just like Elvis was just like there wasn't like a European tour. Like
Right.
Elvis never went to Germany.
Never thought about that.
Yeah, like it's a weird,
Yeah.
it's a weird thing because I mean that's on the flip of it, you think of something like the Beatles,
Right.
and that was like the big thing was like, oh, the Beatles come to America, or
Right.
like the Clash comes to America. You know,
Right.
anybody that was like a big European band, they would come to America, and now they're big on both continents.
Right.
And sometimes that does miss. You know, I mean, I think we can look at stuff with like where in more modern times, like Blur is so much bigger in Europe than they are in America. You know,
Right.
everybody knows Blur is like, woohoo!
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
but-
I just listened to the new Blur album. Have you listened to it?
Uh-uh.
It's like super mellow.
really?
Yeah, it's kind of like Damon Albarn, like just kind of like I think he's feeling his age and just kind of mellowing out and singing more about like his life, like. And I'm like, oh, I was expecting you kind of thing, and it wasn't that at all. It's a beautiful album, but it's not what you think it's gonna be. It's not a Gorillaz album.
Yeah. Oh, well, and I like Gorillaz albums as well
So do I.
because they're very good. But yeah, it is wild to think that like he was just this person that never toured like that. And you know, it makes me think of like, you know, what if like Metallica hadn't have went and like toured Europe and like hadn't played in Russia, you
Right.
know, and the you know, like their fan base over there, or like thinking about bands like AC/DC that like are big in South America, even they're from Australia. It's just
Right.
so weird to me to think that like Elvis was just continually stuck within like the continental 48, and then
Right.
you know he did like one big show in Hawaii.
Right. Well, the cool thing about Elvis is, even though he didn't do that, he's still like a global
Icon.
superstar. Yeah. I think it might be because the movies
Mm-hmm.
that he was in. It could be like he was bigger than life.
Yeah.
And people just loved it. Or his songs were just really great as well. So I think people kind of just, he was an all-star.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely is. You know, you talk about somebody who could only exist in America, especially during that time.
Right.
And you think about just like the whole thing that Elvis did as far as like, you know, like the shaking your hips on TV and like how that was, you know, frowned upon. And then like all the stuff that like, you know, Elvis directly stole from like black musicians,
Right.
And that has to be stated too.
Right.
It's like it wasn't like Elvis just cooked this shit up. Like he
Right.
saw other people doing it that didn't have the access that he had, that he could do this.
Right. And they showed that in the movie pretty
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, they did a good job of doing
Yeah.
that. But then there is also the fact too that like, you know, on top of any and all of that, he's a charismatic dude that was a really good musician that
Right.
was able to then like change with the times, which is also fucking hard.
Yeah.
To go from like the 50s and like the weird normalcy of all that to then like go into the 60s and then to like try to keep a career going
Right.
where like you were like the greaser doo-wop dude and now all of a sudden it's like there's a bunch of hippies and you got to figure out, well, okay, how do I transform myself into fit in this landscape? Yeah, Elvis is a unique character.
Yeah.
I love looking at big stars like him or Britney Spears, you know, like Madonna.
Right.
You know, people that have like had to try to go through this world at that such a high level.
Right.
Because it's got to be crazy to be that person.
Right. And it's probably like super hard for them to lose that level. Like Madonna is not as famous as she was.
No.
Well, she's not putting out any. Well, is she putting out music? I don't even know.
I think she's kind of like just doing tours at this point. I do think that is one of the good things about music is kind of once you made it, you made it. Like if
Yeah.
you have a hit song, people want to hear the song.
Right.
You know, whereas like if you look at something other performing arts like stand-up comedy, you can't tell the same joke year after year. Like you
Right.
got to keep like
Yeah, gotta
inventing
keep it fresh.
a new set.
Right.
You know, whereas like, you know, I saw the Gym Blossoms, you know, over the summer. It's like It's like play when I come around, not when I come
Right.
around, but like until I hear it from you, or like like all this shit from like the early '90s. It's like I don't want to hear your new shit. Like play
Right.
the shit I know.
Yeah. Just play the good ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, music is lucky in that way that they could play the same thing over and over. But then if you're an artist and you have your like the Van Gogh like Starry Night, you could have it hanging on the wall and people will come see it over and over and over from all over the world just because they want it. So it's a little different in the way it is. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying.
No, I'm with you. I'm following your train of thought. So I can think of a good example of that is like J.C. Riviera, the Bear King, the dude from Chicago.
Yeah.
Like he just draws that bear with boxing gloves. That's what he draws. And you
Over
know
and
what?
over.
That man's made a lot of money drawing that bear with boxing gloves.
Right. I mean,
and if you live in Chicago, you've seen that bear. Like you've seen that bear on the side of buildings. You've seen that bear on T-shirts. I saw that bear when I visited Three Floyd's brewery. It was in the tap room. It was
Right.
literally on the wall. So there is that thing too, where like you can discover that in art as well. People who, I don't know if stereotype's the right word, or they find the thing that works and they're like, I'm gonna keep making this thing that works because I know it makes money.
right.
You
Like
know,
Andre the Giant.
oh yeah,
Obey.
with Shepard Fairey, yeah. Or like, is it Cause with like the X'd out eyes?
Oh yeah, he could put X's on anything and people would buy it.
Yeah, and people instantly know what it is,
Right.
And they're on board.
Yeah, Captain Crunch with X's on his eyes. I'm buying it.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, man. So yeah, I do think it is interesting. It is that thing where it's like, oh man, and that's tough too. Trying to walk that line between being a one-hit wonder and being somebody who has a career.
Right.
And that's got to be tough to do as well. I'm also, to bring it back to music, I'm also always impressed by bands that are able to go through not just one decade, but like multiple decades.
Right. Right.
To like, for me to like look at a band like Rush, go from like, go from like the 70s into like the 2010s. And it's like, you guys like saw arena rock, you saw the whole LA strip thing with like Motley Crue and Guns N' Roses, and
Poison.
you saw Poison, yeah. You saw Warrant, you saw everything with Metallica, you saw the whole grunge era.
Yeah.
It's like grunge is happening and Geddy Lee's like, I'm gonna play keyboards and bass at the same time.
Right,
it's
right.
like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Yeah,
like
they're
this is
at a
not
different
selling.
level.
This is not selling right now, guys. And it's like we're gonna keep making this, and we're gonna keep going on tour, and we're gonna keep doing it. It's like
This is our thing.
yeah, and it's like, oh shit, like yeah, you guys survived all these trends because you're that good. You're able to carve out your own spot and be your own thing.
Right. Like that's what I noticed about like bands that lasted, that they don't vary too much from what's good of what they were doing. The National, who's one of my favorite bands, they evolved a little bit, but they definitely have a formula for what they do. Like their sad songs.
Everything's sad.
Everything
Now
is sad.
I'm sad.
And I'm gonna sing slow about it.
Yeah, everything is slow.
But
and
I love it.
winding.
I love it. I mean, it's basically poetry to music.
Yeah.
So that's nice. And they just kind of like just keep riding the same formula over and over. And I'm still buying it. So
Yeah, no, I enjoy them too. They're definitely one of those bands that like, I'm not the biggest indie guy. My wife introduced them to me. I'm like, these guys are great.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is so. I'm like, this is just sad, but at the same time, it rocks. And I don't know how they're balancing this level of sadness and rockiness.
the Smiths did it. Morrissey did
Yeah,
it.
yeah, 100%, 100%. And they're also a band where it's like, hey, we're gonna throw a horn in here, but we're not ska. And it's just like, all right, man, cool. Like, is it gonna work? And it does. And it's like, how did you guys do that?
All right. So I have a question for you. Like Gwen Stefani. 'Cause
Okay.
I used to love No Doubt. And then now Gwen Stefani's a totally different animal.
Yeah.
Are you still a fan of Gwen Stefani? Or, I mean, were you a No Doubt fan?
I wouldn't know if I classify myself as a No Doubt fan. I mean, I like. It's one of those things where, like, if No Doubt songs came on, I could find myself like nodding my head along.
Yeah.
But I was never like, who I want to see in concert? No Doubt. I think No Doubt is a very interesting band because No Doubt was, especially at the time, was one of those things where it was very obvious, where it was like, no doubt could have been called Gwen Stefani and the three other dudes.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like those three other dudes did make some really incredible music. And I
Yeah.
think we saw that when they teamed up with Davey Havoc from AFI to make, was it Dream Car was the band that they did together?
I don't know.
I think it was Dream Car. Or that was one of the songs, but that was like a whole thing where they did like this like very 80s new wavy thing with him. And it was a lot of fun. But yeah, it definitely is the personality and the charisma of Gwen Stefani that really attract people to that band, and then her ability to like then go out and like do stuff with Eve, and
Right.
start getting in that world of like, okay, now I'm going to do pop music, and
Right,
hip
right.
hop.
She shifted.
Yeah. And that was always impressive to me that she was able to like get into multiple genres and do multiple things. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So even though I'm never going to be like, I don't really ever see myself like being in a bar and being like, bro, I'm hammered, put on spider webs. I don't think that's happening. But I definitely respect her as a musician and somebody who is able to, be able to survive multiple decades, be able to bounce
Right.
in between genres and,
No,
and make hits.
I just got into it because we were talking about ska a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, that kind of genre. So I don't know.
Yeah, but she's good, man. I really liked Sunday Morning. I always thought that song was really good that they did, and then Hella Good, especially the video where like
Yeah.
they're racing around on the on the jet skis.
Right.
That was great.
Oh, good old No Doubt.
Yeah. All right. How about this? So, did you ever have did you like ever struggle with finding items for your collections? Like, was there ever a thing where like there wasn't a store to go to, or like you had to go to online to find something?
Right.
Did you ever have anything that was a hard to collect collection?
Like when I started collecting, there was no internet, so that wasn't a thing. What shoes wise, there were like a shoe called Adidas Sobakovs, and they were mostly in Europe at the time, and so I had to get it off of StockX, but that's the only shoe I really chased down because I like the design of it. But now it's all over the place. Now they're selling it in the U.S. I guess they saw the interest in the U.S. market and brought it from Europe to the United States. But that's the only shoe I really had to like chase down. As far as like I can't buy it here. I gotta look for it. But most shoes now that I buy are usually like from internet. But I'm not chasing anymore.
Can you tell the listener what StockX is?
Oh, sorry.
No, that's fine.
So StockX is a shoe website where it's not an auction, but you could ask to purchase certain things for a certain amount of money. So it's almost kind of like an auction site. Like, so let's say for the Sobakovs, I'm willing to spend $80. And for a seller looking, a Sobakov might retail for $90. And so they might be like, oh, well, I'm interested in selling it. I don't care if I have to take a $10 discount. So they'll sell it. But for the most part, most people sell it at a high price. So like a Gucci Gazelle, right now, if you look at it online, or a Gucci Samba, it's probably in the 400s at this point. And if you ask if you could purchase one for 300, no one's gonna blink an eye, and no one's gonna sell you anything. But if you get close to their asking price, then they might go down a little bit. It's a game. I don't know. I don't even use it that much, but because I can't afford most of the shoes on their site.
It's a very interesting market, man. The whole the shoe collecting thing is something I've always been interested in. I dabble in it. I would not consider myself a sneakerhead, but I do like to have some shoes that are cool and look a little different from everybody else has. But I'm always amazed by sneaker culture and just
Yeah.
the idea of exclusivity and
Right.
what people pay for shoes and
Yeah.
just the different stuff that comes out. And then the companies are hip to it, like Nike is aware that this
Oh,
market
yeah.
exists,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they totally feed into it
course.
with having exclusives and all that
Yes.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, so there's a Sneakers app from Nike. Are you familiar with Sneakers app?
Huh.
So Sneakers app, they release certain shoes only through the app. And you have to, it's basically a lottery system. So at 10 o'clock a.m. It's usually 10 o'clock a.m. on a certain date. You could get certain shoes, and so you get on the queue and then you put in your size that you're willing to spend. So let's say it's a $200 shoe. So you're like, yeah, I'll agree to $200, size 9, all this. And then they go through a lottery system, and you might not even get that shoe. And so that's how they're getting their exclusive shoes out. So it's hard to get shoes. Like most people take a lot of losses before they get one shoe. And that's kind of like on Twitter and all that stuff, people are complaining about like how hard it is to get certain shoes or to order certain shoes. I don't know. It is a weird group of sneakerheads.
It's a super interesting subculture, man. It's one of those things where when I meet people, the first two things I look at on a person, I look at their shoes and I look at their hat or their hair.
Right.
Those are the first two things I notice on you.
I have no hair.
Same
I am
with
wearing
you. I'm right here with you, brother. And and that's why you got a sweet hat on. That's why I usually have one on. Yep. But yeah, those are my first two looks. Because you can tell a lot about people by what they're wearing on their feet and what they're wearing on and what's going on with their head. I would say with like both tend to be more kind of individual personality. But definitely like shoes can give you some clues on like who this person is, what they do for a living. There's
a lot. Yeah,
there's a lot there, or kind of the personality of the person. Like, are they kind of a laid back, chill bro, or are they like a skater? Are they like a Vans person, or are they wearing like some hype beast Yeezys? Like, what's happening here? Who is this person I'm chatting with?
Yeah. So I do have Yeezys that I don't wear just because of Kanye's anti-Semite now. For some reason.
He got to screw that up, didn't he?
I was like, I cannot wear these anymore. What is wrong with him? Oh well.
Yeah. That's one of like the most amazing meltdowns I've ever seen. Yeah. And I don't know if he's ever coming back from that. I mean, I think I don't know. I am a person that does think that like time heals all wounds on some level, especially when you're dealing like rich and powerful people. Right. Like I think if like in 5 years if he was like, hey man, I fucked up. I'm atoning, like I'm on drugs now to even out my bipolarness. Right. Like he would have to do a lot, but I think he could come back. But it was also one of the most wild things to watch live. Yeah. Where it's just like, how do you not have anybody in your ear right now being like, hey man, stop doing this.
Yes.
Like you're burning it all the ground. And that's the problem. He's such a narcissist. Nobody could be in his ear to tell him that.
There's no one that's going to stop him. And he has enough money that he doesn't need anymore. Yeah. So it's a problem.
I think his cheese slid off the cracker when his mom died.
Yeah.
Like I think that was kind of one of those few people that could like have an honest conversation, be like, hey man, like don't do this, or you're kind of messing this up. And then when his mom unexpectedly died, I think that was something that really just broke him, and I don't think he's ever recovered from it. Right. And it's kind of like the same thing with like Bam Margera with like Ryan Dunn dying. He like went down like a hole of drugs and alcohol, and he's just finally starting to get his head back above water after like 15 fucking years of this bullshit.
Steve-O's talking to him.
Yeah, and it's just like I do think there are some people like that where they get broke and they get broke hard. But yeah, man, that was wild to watch that whole thing with Kanye West. Right, he's hanging out with like that Nick Fuentes Nazi kid, right? Like just young crazy shit. I'll never forget like when he went on Alex Jones, and like even Alex Jones was like trying to like walk it back.
They're like, dude, what are you talking?
Yeah, and Kanye's wearing like a black like ski mask that has no eyes and is just yelling, "I love Hitler," and then like Alex Jones is like, God damn it, you're fucking me right now. Like, please stop saying this, dude. You are killing me right now.
Yeah, at some point I thought, is he doing a performance?
Yeah.
Is he like just wigging people out? I mean, but at the same time, you're like, oh, okay, maybe this is really him.
Maybe this is really him.
So who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, it is shocking to see that. And in classic conversation of art versus artist, where then they're like, I had a lot of people like you hanging up the Yeezys, and I had like other friends that are like, fuck man, like I don't know what to do with my Kanye albums now.
I have Kanye albums. I still love Kanye music. That is one of the problems. It's kind of like, it's crazy because I still love the music. I hate him. Like, where's the separation?
Art versus artist is tricky. It's really hard. I would always So like, take it back to roller derby's come a lot up in this episode for I don't know why, but like so with roller derby, like they are like the most progressive as progressive could be. It's like before like every tournament, there's like a land acknowledgement wherever they're playing at. It's like, we were playing on native land, and like talk about that. And then like there's a very big on like pronouns and stuff and making sure everybody's respecting all that. And, and it's like, all right, cool. And then like, but then at the same time, like a DJ will play like Michael Jackson. It's like, that's a child molester. It's like this is like a weird thing where like
Right.
we don't separate art and art, like
Right.
or like are we separating art? Like what are we doing here? We're like you're very political on all these other things, but then all of a sudden like it's like, well, Billie Jean is a fire song. It's like I agree that Billie Jean is a fire song, but you're also like being very much like no,
Right.
we're doing what's right here.
Yeah, I think that was a time heals all wounds kind of thing. And also that he died. So he's no longer a child molester. So
Yeah.
it's one of those like weird things. Like, yeah, because I remember like hearing about it and I'm like, oh, can I still listen to his music? Because I still like it? No? All right, never mind.
Yeah.
It's weird.
That's like the other day I was at the gym and Remix to Ignition by R. Kelly came on. And I'm like, God damn, dude, this song is still good.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good.
Ignition's great.
Yeah, and that is like a thing where it's just I don't know where to draw, like how do you draw a line or where do you draw a line on stuff. You brought up the Smiths and Morrissey earlier, and I was like, all right, I'm like, I want to buy Morrissey vinyl, but I want to make sure that I don't give him money. Right. So I'm gonna buy like used copies and stuff.
Right.
And then I found out that like him and his bandmates had like some kind of thing where Morrissey made like a shitload more than everybody else in the band for years, so they were able to sue him, and now they're getting proceeds off the vinyl. Nice. So I was like, all right, sweet, I can buy this. Yeah. But whereas on the opposite end of it, like all the Dead Kennedy stuff now is going not to Jelly Biafra, but it's going to the band, and the band's actually gone pretty far right, and I'm like, all right, well, if I want Dead Kennedy stuff, then I need to buy it on the aftermarket. Wow, man. What a weird fucking rabbit hole.
I know, I'm sorry.
Of canceled artists. No, that's okay. It was a good conversation. It was just one of those things where, man, we kind of got deep and weird there for a minute.
Yeah. And we're all over the place. I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry, listeners.
Dude, again,
you're in my brain now.
This is the show. The show is Rants and Rabbit Holes. Well, look, man, before we close up and get out of here, was there anything you wanted to talk about that we missed tonight? Was there anything that we didn't hit on in your collections that you wanted to speak about?
No. I think we did a great job talking tonight. Yeah, and I don't want to go down any more rabbit holes and and go crazy again.
Fair enough.
So it's hey Tank, thanks for having me here. I listen to you all the time, and I love it here.
John, thank you, dude. Well, since you do listen, you know that this is coming. Final question. Do you have any collections that you want to get into, or is there anything that's on the precipice of failing now? Like, where are we currently at in your collection land?
So I'm still buying shoes. So that's...
Sick.
No, you know what? I never know what's coming next, honestly. Because the shoe thing I just kind of fell into. Mm-hmm. Oh, see, you're going to make me go in a rabbit hole. So no, the answer is no.
No, please get on the rabbit hole. So like what brand did you start collecting with the shoes?
Adidas.
Okay.
And for a while, I'm like, I'm only going to collect Adidas.
Okay.
And then there were some fire Nikes, and I'm like, all right, maybe just one Nike. And then there's now Sauconys are making some sweet stuff. Asics is making some, like New Balance is now my favorite. So I don't know. See, it's a bad hole because, wait, did I say that?
It's a good bad hole to be in.
That's right. And that, I mean, that a sneaker collection is more expensive than any other collection. But the prices are going crazy now too. Mm-hmm. So,
well, it's that thing where it's one of those things that's bridged in the like mainstream culture now,
right?
Where like you'll see like regular ass like you'll see like VPs and CEOs of companies,
right?
And you'll see them wearing suits with like Jordans, right? And it's like that this would never happen,
right?
In years past, you'd be wearing like some boring ass dress shoes. But at some point, it made that jump where you can now wear sneakers with literally anything.
Right, and the line's blurred with who's promoting it. So now there's artists creating shoes that are amazing. Of course, like Drake is making shoes. So musicians, athletes, of course. So like it's a cool thing to be a sneakerhead at this point, and I don't know if it's gonna go away anytime soon because the people that kids and adults look up to are athletes, musicians, and if they're promoting it and they love it, then I guess we're gonna love it too because we just follow them.
Yeah, and it is that mixture of like marketing and pop culture, cult of personality, and then also just the fashion of it.
Right.
And like it looks cool. It looks cool when I'm wearing this. It's a status symbol.
Right.
In a lot of stuff is like it physically looks cool. Like the design of it looks good.
Yeah.
I really like the stuff that Adidas brings out. I like the stuff Nike brings out. I love having shoes that have like crazy airbags in them. I love stuff like with Nike, like the Space Hippie line.
I love the Space Hippie.
Space Hippie's great.
Yeah.
It's
the,
so
the
cool.
idea behind it's great.
Yeah. Yeah, like the whole thing of like recycling and all that,
Yeah.
and like the stuff they brought out was the impacts and the craters. Like I think those are cool. Like there's just so much cool shit that you can like go down and get into.
Right.
And then exactly what you're talking about, like the artists, like different color stuff. Like I think that's another major thing. Like this past year, I ended up buying my first pair of Jordan 1s, high top in their FCC colors.
Nice.
So like I only wear them to FCC games.
Right.
And it's just like, oh man, there's so many cool things you can get of this,
Right.
that then can fit into your style and what you wear. Because I don't know about you, but I'm pretty big on like I try to make things match. I want
Right.
things to go together.
I try to match things, but it doesn't always work.
Well, look, man. Before we get out of here, can you hit your plugs real quick and let people know where they can find out, where they can find the podcast at?
Sure. So my podcast is Art Hang. You can find it on Spotify. Or you could type in my name, John Lanzador, on Spotify. It'll come up with Art Hang. My IG is john.lanzador. I do have a website. I can't remember what it's called right now. But it's in my link tree in my IG. So you can find it there. And, like I have bureaus all over the city. I'm going to have some shows coming up. And I can't say anything yet. But, if you follow me, you'll find it there.
All right, listener, go follow the guy. Cool shit's coming down the pike. Cool shit's already happening. Give the guy a follow on social media. You know where to find me at NeoToKnow on Instagram. My link tree is there. Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you got a friend that has a failed collection, share the episode with them. And while you're at it, you can share any of the episodes with them. Everything's evergreen. Basically, jump in wherever you want to with this podcast. Jump out wherever you want to. You don't have to listen to things in sequential order. It's a come as you go, as you please. John, man, thank you so much, dude. Thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate you doing this, and thank you for having me on mine. Or thank you for having me on yours.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
All right, listener, peace.